Hey guys, it's Jaylon. Welcome or welcome back. I'm here today to share with you my update for Pan in Every palette. This is a project that I originally started because I was watching Paula do this project, and the original inspiration for this project was Lady Pants-A-Lot. So I have 3 categories that I try to hit pan in palettes. The first one, they're all randomly chosen for me, but the first one is where I choose a shade and I have 5 palettes in that section. The second grouping is where the shade is randomly chosen for me, and I have 3 palettes in that section. And then I'm also doing the project level up created by Sophie, Alexandra, and I'm currently working on level 4. So let me share with you the palettes that I was working on in each section. We're going to start with the ones where I select the shade. Before I get started showing you the palettes, I do want to say I've done a massive declutter. Part 1 is up on my channel. I'll link it up here. And part 2 is coming in the next couple of days, I think. I'm working on editing it now, and I'm going to film the intro and outro today. So hopefully that'll be up soon. But I do have a couple of palettes in this project that were decluttered. So I'll tell you in which section they were. So the first set of palettes I'm going to show you are the ones where I chose the shade. So I'm working on the Tarte Tartlet Juicy palette. Sorry, this is dirty and everything's coming off the front of this. The Natasha Denona Mini Metropolis palette. The Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves palette, the ColourPop Lilac You A Lot palette, and I was working on the ColourPop I Love You A Lot palette, but I ended up decluttering that one. I did not hit pan in the shade yet, or I had not hit pan in the shade yet. Now for the palettes where the shade is randomly chosen for me. The first one is the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette. Next, we have the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. And I also decluttered a palette in this section. It was the Too Faced Kitty Likes to Scratch palette. And that one I also had not hit pan in the shade I was working on, which was Heavy Metal. And then for my Project Level Up palette, I'm working on the Buxom Dolly's Wild Side palette. Okay, so now the question is, how many palettes do I have pan in? I have pan in 2. They are both from the section where I chose the shade. So the first one is finally hit pan in the Tarte Tartlet Juicy palette. Oh my gosh. Bye, Zig. I was working on the shade Rosé, and you can see my massive pan there. So excited. This has pan. These take forever to hit pan in, these shadows. So this one is rolling out. Yes. Then today, this morning, I hit pan in my Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves palette. I'm so excited. I was worried this was going to take me forever, but you can see my massive pan there. I must have had a very thin layer and was kind of working. Anyway, it's done. Or I hit pan. Woo! So those are the 2 palettes I can roll out. Now I do have 1 palette in this group that I decluttered, and then I have 1 palette in the next grouping that I decluttered. So I'll actually be rolling in 4 new palettes today, which is pretty exciting. Now let me share with you how everything is going in the other palettes I'm working on. The Natasha Denona Mini Metropolis palette. You can probably tell I'm working on this shade, which is Jubilee, and I haven't used this a ton, but I have used it. It's a really lovely shade. So still working on this one. Then from the Lilac You A Lot palette by ColourPop, I'm working on the shade Iffy. And I don't think you might be able to see a bit of a dip there. So this is a very blue toned purple. And I've been going for a lot more of like red toned purples lately. So, and that's kind of goes with the rest of my, like all the other palettes I'm working on. So I've actually been mixing this with some other shades to get a more, like a shade that I would actually wear more frequently and that's not so lilac, you know, I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, I mean, it's a Lilac You A Lot palette, but like this shade would probably have been better for me to work on because it really goes better with the other palettes and where you can see the difference. So anyway, I'm working on it. There's a teeny tiny dip, but not a lot of progress quite yet. So those are the two where I have shades selected I'm working on. Then for the random shades, I have the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs. And I had re-selected a shadow from this last month. And I chose the shade Libra. And I love this shadow so much. Let me take off this color that I'm not working on. That shade is gorgeous. I've used it a couple of times, so not a ton. It is kind of powdery. Look at how gorgeous that is. Ugh. It's going to be a great shade for the fall and winter. Oh my God, it's beautiful. So still have a ways to go on that one as well, and that's a baked shadow. I should probably start working on like a corner, but I don't ever do that. I work in the center. Maybe I'll start working my brush up to the top or something. And then for the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette, this has something on it. Let me clean this up. Holy Grail palette, whoops. And I'm working on the shade Plouf. And it is this one here. Now, I originally thought this would be a better shade for me on my lid, but this is a gorgeous inner corner shade. Beautiful. And that's how I've been using it. So I assume it's going to take a little bit of time. I mean, I have another shadow I'm working on for my inner corner, but I have a usage goal on that. So I think once I've done that, I'll focus 100% on the shade because it is so gorgeous. I didn't even show it to you. It's right here. And I did use it in my inner corner today, but I think it's all rubbed off. So let's just add some more. Well, it didn't all rub off, but you know, it's so pretty. So pretty. So I'm really enjoying that shade out of this Violet Voss palette. Okay, so let me grab my iPad and we'll pull up Wheel of Names and we'll roll in 4 new palettes. And then wait, before I do that, let me show you my Buxom palette. This is for Sophie Alexandra's Project Level Up. So here is the Wild Side palette. And I previously had 2 pans. And I still have 2 pans. So these are the 2 shades I have pan in. I am working on this one pretty heavily. I might be close to pan in that. I have used all shades 5 times except for this one. This one seems to me to be a little bit out of place because it's kind of a, well, no, it's not. It's beautiful. I don't know. I tend to gravitate more towards like these 2 shades or the shade in the BH Cosmetics Love Signs palette, but I'll eventually get to this one. I think I've used it twice. So I have 3 uses to go on this. It's not one I'm targeting to hit pan in. So I think this is going to be my next pan. And then after that, it's probably going to be this matte because that's the one you can probably tell I have dips in both. But I have been going like really into both those mattes. I really do enjoy them. So still working on it. If I haven't hit my 4 pans in this before the end of the year, I will roll in, start this project over. I'm not going to continue to work on this and work on level 5. I'll just start right back over. All right. I did go in and remove all the palettes that I decluttered out of this list. At least I'm pretty sure I did. And now we're down to around 179 palettes in this list. So let me go ahead and go to full screen and let's see the 4 new palettes I'm rolling in. So I'll say the first, the first 3 would be in the first section and the last one would be in the one where I choose the shade, where the shade is randomly chosen for me, but I may decide to just figure out which one out of the 4 goes into that second grouping. Okay. Natasha Denona 5 eyeshadow palette in Cupid. Natasha Denona palettes take forever to hit pan in. So there's one. Number 2. This is the first time I've had a Pat McGrath palette in this project. Mothership 9 Utopian Dreams. Wow! I'm sure it'll take forever to hit pan on that palette. Okay, number 3. Another Pat McGrath palette. Diamond of the Water. The Bridgerton collection, Diamond of the Water. Wow! Number 4. Oh, Nomad Cosmetics Cartagena Mágica. Cartagena Mágica? I don't know. Correct me. Okay, let me grab these palettes. I'll be right back. Oh, this is so exciting. I'm back. Let's look at all these palettes first. I have the Natasha Denona Cupid 5 Pan Eyeshadow Palette. So here's what this one looks like. Hi, Marls. Okay. Then we have the Pat McGrath Utopian palette. So here, the typical Pat McGrath packaging. There's the palette. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then I have the Pat McGrath Bridgerton palette, Diamond for the First Water. And here's this beautiful palette. Okay. And the last one is the Nomad Cartagena Mágica. I'm just going with that. And here is this palette. Which one should I have randomly chosen for me? I'm definitely going to want to pick from Utopian Dream, so we'll put that one aside. I think with this one, I want to pick because I think I'm going to pick the shade. I need a shade like that right now. With this one, I would be okay with having it randomly chosen for me, but I know that I will not pan. Even if I pan this entire palette, I would not use this shade and I would not use that shade. Because these kinds of shades do not look good on my eyes, and I'm not going to force myself to hit pan in them. So yeah, they just don't go. They don't look good on my eyes. I look sickly. I feel like I look sickly when I wear them. So I could have this randomly chosen for me, or this one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would probably want to pick this one, but that would probably be really hard to hit pan in. All right, let me just do this first. I haven't made a decision. Let me go ahead and start with the Cupid palette. I am going to select this shade, and that is Shell. I need a shade like this. I don't have a good first crease shade that's not super dark right now. So that is what I'm going with. I'm going boring. Oh, but it's beautiful. It's not boring to me. It's gorgeous. So that's what I'm going to work on in here. Let's look at this gorgeous thing, Utopian Dreams. Or Utopian Dream. I don't know which one it is. At this point, I don't care. I mean, I feel like I should use that purple. Oh, it's so pretty. Can you? I can't. My arm doesn't bend that way. Okay, I'm going to go with this shade. Oh my God. Okay, that one is called Astral Amethyst Moon. And the main reason why I want to go with this shade, because I love this color, but the few times I've worn this palette, I didn't really feel like I could make this purple, in my opinion, work with the rest of the shades in here. So I think out of all the ones in here, makes the most sense for me to work on, and then leave the rest to kind of work cohesively with the rest of the palette. I mean, that wouldn't be a shade that's done, but you know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to do out of this palette. I'm so excited. Yay! So this is why doing a declutter was such a great thing, because all of these palettes I'm excited about. Let me swatch this Pat McGrath palette. I have used this one. I'm just going to swatch it down here and I'll remove it. Okay, so here is the Pat McGrath palette. The Diamond of the First Water. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and have this be my random selection, and I'm going to pick out of this palette. So let's see. Okay, I'm really interested in trying out the shimmer formula, so I'm going to go with, surprise, surprise, the shade La Luz Malva. That's a great outer corner shade for like pink looks. We'll see. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake there, but I feel like I have a lot of warm shades I'm working on now with like Norvina and other things I have going on. So I am wanting to bring in some cooler tone things. Now we have the Pat McGrath Diamond of the First Water palette. So we have 6 shades in here. Let me grab my phone and we'll do pretty random. Let's see what we get. Number 6. Oh, that's a pretty one. This shade here. Oh. Look at that palette. Look at that palette. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. All right. So that is what is rolling into this project and the new shades I'm working on. Since I started this project, I have hit pan in 50 eyeshadow palettes. I love that. Anyway, that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you're doing well and staying safe. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.